Good morning, New City Fellowship. My name is Roy Hubbard. I'm the Associate Pastor of New City Fellowship down in South City. And as a part of the network of New City churches here in St. Louis, we were given the task, the pastors were given the task of offering words of encouragement to our people from our three different sites, University City, West End, as well as here in South City. And we consider it a privilege as the pastors of these churches, Pastors Tony and Barry and Thurman and I, to be able to continue to give daily encouragement to God's people. The truth is, Jesus has not left us. Jesus is still working his good work in this world. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit continue to bring life, to bring hope, to bring healing to us all. And so I wanted to encourage us this morning. And during Lent season here down in South City, we have been working through a Song of Ascent, Psalm 121. In many ways, we chose that song to kind of prepare our hearts for the journey to Jerusalem, the ultimate journey to Jerusalem, Jesus' journey to Jerusalem on the road to Easter. But in light of recent events, in days, weeks, and months, we've seen how this psalm has become even more relevant, even more applicable to our lives. And so I wanted to encourage us this morning with these words again and to reflect briefly about this and not take preacher minutes and encourage God's people. And so Psalm 121 says this, Song of Ascents, I lift up my eyes to the hills. And where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. And one of the glories and the beauty of this psalm and what it tells us is ultimately where our help comes from. Our help comes from the Lord. The psalmist is inviting us to look to the hills, metaphorically speaking, of his journey to Jerusalem, to look to God ultimately, to look to the God of Jerusalem, to look to God himself. And one of the things he encourages the people of God in is to see that there is help in God, that the help that we have, it comes from the Lord, and not just this abstract concept of God, but the God who made heaven and earth, the God who made us, the God who made all things. It's fascinating that word for help that's mentioned here is the same word that God uses in the beginning of the Bible to talk about and to address this issue of something else not being good. If you might remember this, but one of the things that God mentions, one of the first things you read about in the Bible, if you're working your way through Genesis, of God saying not being good, is that for man to be alone, and God makes a help for him. That same word, that God describes himself as that help, that God describes himself as that glory, as that one who steps into the not good of the world. You may find yourselves wondering, what in the world is God doing? What's going on? Where does my help come from? Is there any help? And God is encouraging you and me again this morning to see and to know that he is our help, that he's the one who keeps us, who keeps his people, who keeps Israel. He's the one who neither sleeps nor slumbers. You slept last night. You slumbered. You didn't know what happened in those hours you were unconscious. Guess what? God was still watching over you. God was still taking care of you. God still kept you. And so in many ways, this psalm is encouraging you and me to have hope during this time. But then it ends with these precious promises. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. And when those promises are given to us, they're promises that are true, that are generally speaking true in body of faith, in the community of faith, in the fact that those who have been called by Jesus and brought to Jesus will generally know that to be a true principle. But ultimately, it will be true in the fact that nothing that would befall us in this world would ever undo the love of God to us. So people of God, know that God keeps you. He keeps you from all evil. He keeps your life. He will keep your life. He will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. And the encouragement to you and me is that we can really rest in the work of Jesus on our behalf. We can really rest in Jesus himself because he is our help. He is with us. And so would you be blessed this morning and encouraged this morning?